Hello to the Old Man Orange Podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes, and I am joined by one of my oldest friends of all time, Josh Bullock, who's been on the show before, but it's been back in the day when we used to do these in person. So it's been a long while. But he's we finally got together. You know, we're like, dude, we're gonna talk some movies, we're gonna have some fun. But dude, Josh, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good.
Just out there living the dream. I love I was commenting on your posters behind you right before this, which you know is perfect for a Charles Bronson movie too.
It's a little unfortunate. There's too many parallels with this Bronson flick that we decided to watch. I know what I was stepping into, but was it 1970s or was it 2024? I don't know.
I know, it's one of those ones, I didn't expect. I was like, wow, this is really relevant, this movie.
It is. It is.
And all we were doing that thing where like, dude, we got a podcast, a Charles Bronson movie, and we were throwing ones back and forth. And then it just kind of came down to like, okay, well, we both got Prime Video. That'll make it easy. So what's on Prime Video? Oh, Borderline? Well, we've both never seen this. Let's check this one out. 1980 Charles Bronson? Sure. He's defending the border of America. You know, how much more patriotic can you get than that?
Back in the day when the border fence was just 3 strands of barbed wire.
They got some fancy technology there. They got a little sensor that they put in the ground, so when you make a little rumble on it, it sends a beacon out to the border patrol.
Actually, that part was surprising. I was not expecting that.
No, it's actually got some cool little like tracking type stuff in here, you know, and everything like that. And I love how it's got Ed Harris as the villain. It's also, he's the introduced in this one, so this is his first movie, or so-called first movie.
Well, I mean, that part was fantastic. And I mean, overall, what was interesting was, you know, you're watching a Charles Bronson flick, and we've talked about this before, where he kind of gets typecast into a certain type of role. And this film was not what I was expecting it to be.
No, it's much different. Because I remember, like, when I was telling Laura about it, she's like, what movie are you watching? We're like, we're watching Charles Bronson movie and whatnot like that. She's like, well, how many people did he kill? I'm like, well, actually, not that many. Literally, I think only one.
Yeah, literally one.
Yeah, it was like, and she was bewildered by that. And I was like, yeah, you know, could I be bewildered by that too? And it's weird because it's a movie that doesn't really actually it has like very little action in it. But I was still like engaged the whole time. I still wanted to see what old Charlie Bronson was going to be up to, you know, along the way and where it was going, because I really didn't know.
Yeah, no, it was, I mean, that part was surprising. The fact that, you know, he was basically the leader, I guess, boss of that border station.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they never really explained that, but I'm guessing he was the guy in charge because, you know, who else could just be like, I'm going to leave my post and I'm going to go on a mission and tell nobody.
Yeah, exactly. Well, because it's like, yeah, the only other guy that's like left in charge is they have that dude. I can't remember what his name is, but he's the guy from Beverly Hills Cop. That's what I always think of him as. He's the old guy. Well, I think he's probably one of those guys. Probably always looks old, you know. But you know, when they're in Beverly Hills, he's the older guy, you know, part of the team with Judge Reinhold and everything like that. But he's in there kind of maintaining it. Yeah, and I like this. Charles Bronson's like, well, if you guys aren't going to figure this out, I got to go find out, you know, because I guess a short story to this plot here is that we got Ed Harris pretty much is taking, you know, illegal Mexicans across the border, smuggle them in like tomato trucks and whatnot like that, you know, and then taking them literally to like a plantation. It's pretty much what's going down, and selling them off there. And that's his post-Vietnam like job.
Okay. Yeah. And, well, you know, let's go ahead and just say it. How come it had to be like corporate white America? It was like, I got the new business venture, boys. It's illegals. Like, how is he making money off of that? I want to know. It was like some like burger stand somewhere in Chicago. Like, yo, big corporate American boss guy. You know, we need some illegals over here.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, because it's like there is that scene, I forgot about that, where like they're like, we need to get rid of these guys fast, buy them a one-way ticket to Chicago.
Yeah.
And you never see him again. Well, it's like such a strange one too, because it's like it reminds me like that. There's that movie like Traffic or whatever, like in 2004, 6, somewhere like that. One of those. I mean, that's a little bit different, but that's sort of what this was kind of feeling like. Is it like, okay,
right.
traffic these guys across, and it's not just like they're out. I mean, at this dude's plantation, they're just out there picking like strawberries and tomatoes and whatnot, and he just like he doesn't even house them. He just like gives them like a cardboard shanty town on the side.
That part was wild.
Yeah, and then they got the other guy who's one of the, I guess the other main character in here is there's the young buck in here who's the Italian guy, which I always think of.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I think of it from City Slickers. I'm like, oh, that's the dude. He's the third wheel in City Slickers that I felt like I've never seen in too many other movies, and here he is, and that's.
Are you talking about the cop?
Yeah, Bruno
like
Kirby.
The rookie cop.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
The guy straight out of Brooklyn.
Of course he had to be in it. Like, you should, hey, what was his name? Fonty or something like that? Hey, this is Vic Fonty.
Yeah, Jimmy.
Hey, bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah.
Hey, how's your Spanish? Hey, it's all right, dude.
Hey, but my Italian's pretty good. Eh? Same language.
Hey,
right?
I can make a spaghetti, dude.
Yeah. So he shows up, and there's even like
shows to be a border guard of all things.
Yeah, it's just like one of those ones probably never left New York till now.
Yo, I'm out of here, Mom. I gotta go to Arizona. I'm done with this.
Yeah, there's like that part where because there's that part where Charles Brown's like, well, so they said they were sending 16 of you. Well, all you got is me. I'm one of 16 men.
Right. Yo, my Spanish is impeccable, dude.
Yeah, sit him down there. Yeah.
He was actually one of the best characters in that show, though.
No, I liked him a lot. Yeah, he was dialed in because he was the guy who brought in a lot of like the stuff along the way, and he didn't really get in the way, and he was the one who got Charles Bronson back in the game when Charles Bronson was like, there's that scene where Charles Bronson's like, it just without Charles Bronson saying anything, you just tell he's depressed. He goes in the fridge, he gets home after he's crossed the border, he cracks a couple of beers, and then it shows a slow pan camera across like his dining room table, and it shows a hungry man box dinner.
Yeah. Right. It's peak depression.
And then it just cuts back to it like it's something in the morning, and Charles Bronson's just splayed out on like his couch or his chair, whatever, his recliner. Got the hungry man just sitting on his lap. Put a couple.
The key point though, he didn't even cook the hungry man. He's Charles Bronson. He just ate it. That frozen brownie.
It cooks while being eaten.
Yes.
Yeah, so yeah. I guess going back to it, it's like, so we got this smuggling operation going on by Ed Harris that goes awry because the police pull him on over and whatnot, and they seem like it's a simple check and whatnot, and then when he opens up one door, it's like, oh, you got a bunch of illegals here, not these tomatoes, which the first thing I thought was like, you think they would have designed that tomato wagon a little bit better. I think you would have had, because you had the tomatoes on the top to distract them, but like all you had to do was open the little like bottom door, and it's like, oh, there's a compartment here. You think you would have stacked some tomatoes right in that section too, so it didn't look like it was just looked into a canvas here, like, hey, here's everybody hanging out.
Especially later on when they were smuggling illegals in like emptied out fuel trucks, and you're like, oh, okay, that's pretty smart.
Well, the other thing I kind of thought about this movie is I'm like, this movie was probably like the first like shocking thing to like a lot of people being like, this is really fucking going on. Because it's especially if you lived anywhere else beyond like Southern California, Arizona, like Texas, all that kind of stuff, you could see this being like that. This is the first time you ever heard about it. It's 1980. Right. You're like, wow, what the fuck? Like, especially when they have that one lady like she's getting smuggled across, and you could just hear her start screaming at like the borderline, and she's just like screaming at high pitch, like ah, ah, ah! And then they open it up, and then like the fucking radiators burst on her, and she's stuck in the engine cabinet, which which also tells you, remember like the days when cars actually had room in there.
Yeah, right. No. When you bring that up, I didn't even think about that. I should have looked that up before doing this, because I'd be interested to know if that's considered like an early film propaganda piece, because it very well could have been.
Yeah, well, I think it feels like the way it kind of comes across is that Charles Bronson wanted to kind of be like, I want to get the message out there that this is happening to people because I'm Charles Bronson. One of those type of deals. And so, and there's another movie, I have it on Laserdisc. I've never watched it, but I can't remember where it was like the coolest cover because it's like this movie right here started like a border, like, of like, there's a couple other movies. So there's one, I think it's just called Straight the Border, and it's got Jack Nicholson in it. And he's just standing there, American flag behind him on the cover, mustache, big old fucking hat. I'm like, whatever this movie is, it looks great.
Dude, I want to see that.
I gotta pull that Laserdisc out for you to show you.
You said Jack Nicholson with a mustache?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm on board. On board.
Border Patrol Jack Nicholson.
Whatever it is. But no, I really think like, because you have Fonte, whatever his name is, Jimmy Fonte, our Italian brother, his moment where he's looking at the camp and he's talking to how long they've lived there, and is a very humanizing aspect because Charles Bronson, he can't be humanizing. I feel like the most humanizing he's ever done is in I don't know, like Magnificent Seven, where he's just like not strangling the kids while cutting wood. He's just like, all right, children. But or like humanizing when his dog gets killed and then he's got to murder people. That's about as far as he could go.
Well, isn't Charles Bronson the guy in The Great Escape where he's like freaked out from like the hole? Like once he gets to a certain point, he's like, I can't go, man, I can't go. So it's like, oh, what happened to Charlie all of a sudden? He lost his courage there. He got claustrophobic.
I can't. He's one of them. He's one of them who survives. He's one of the few who make it through the end of the movie.
Like the two, because I remember like the first time I watched, I'm like, how the hell is this called The Great Escape? Like two guys made it. Like I don't know how great that was.
Right.
It's like most of the guys all die in it.
Yeah. I don't know, but
not even Steve McQueen makes it.
We have to touch on his journey across the border into Tijuana, though.
Yes,
because that was one of the best parts. I mean, he's just like, okay, so remind me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure they find the tomato truck, and the FBI is like, for sure, we have no evidence, but this is drugs, dude. There's some weed in the back of this truck. It's drugs, but you know what? We're going to stop investigating now because this is America, damn it, and we need our drugs.
Yeah. The FBI shut that down real fast. They're
like, drugs? Yep, drugs. Okay. Yeah. Case closed, guys.
Yeah, and then Charles Bronson was like, well, there was a poor boy that died, so we got to go after it and stuff. And like, oh, no, case closed. Forget about it. It's not that big of a deal. Like, on your way. So then Charles Bronson goes and finds the mother of the kid who died in the process, and then like, by the way, your son's dead. Like,
and of course, you're a maid.
Yeah, of course. It was 1980. And it's like one of those ones where it's like, yeah, your son died. Wasn't drugs, though. But I need to ask you, was it drugs? Because the FBI is real serious about it being drugs.
Yeah, so he convinces this lady because, once again, he's obviously the border chief of that station. And he's like, oh, yeah. We could go across the border. If we get caught, it's fine. I'll just let you back in.
Yeah, I run this show. Badge. Yeah, it's like, I'm in charge of this whole thing. Don't worry. I just can't speak very good Spanish because though I work for the border thing, I need you to do all the talking. Right. So that part was interesting because it's like, it makes me wonder, I would love to actually find out how people kind of get across the border, where they meet their coyotes at. Mm-hmm. But, apparently in this film, you could just meet them in a bar in Tijuana and it's going to be a cop. Yeah, you don't have to even go that far.
Yeah, you could just sit at a table and they're going to come up to you. Hey, you look like you want to go to America.
I can just see it on your face.
Right.
Yeah.
No questions asked. Just give us money, but you look like you want to go to America.
And then I also think with like when they're smuggling in Charles Bronson in there too, that everybody's sitting there like, well, what is this guy? Like, 'cause you know how Charles Bronson looks. He's one of those kind of actors that like you can't really tell where he kind of comes from. You know,
Right.
almost like just like a Yul Brenner of like once again Magnificent Seven, or obviously in modern days, the Vin Diesel, where you just like you're not really 100% sure what the heck he is. So that everybody's sitting there, be like, well, he doesn't really speak any Spanish or anything like that. Is he Chinese? Is he like from South America? Where the hell is this guy from?
Dude, for the longest time. For the longest time in Fast and the Furious, I thought he was Italian, and then it turned out he was from like Cuba or something.
No,
I still don't know.
No, Vin Diesel, because I remember this from like I think he explains it in the special features in like his first movie or whatever. But I think it's he's like 1/3 Italian, 1/3 African, and 1/3 something like
Street Shark.
Cuban, Street Shark, yeah. Got a little bit of Street Shark DNA in there. So he's like, I was trying to try out for all the jobs, so they'd be like, oh, I got Italian mobster, and I'd show up there for like the acting gig, and they'd be like, oh, you don't look Italian enough. He's like, and then I'd show up for like an African American guy, like, no, you don't look African enough. So he's like, I couldn't get anything, so I had to write my own role.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah,
because he is weird looking.
Yeah, he's definitely different. Well, he's like Yul Brenner. Yul Brenner kind of reminds me of that too. Like literally the main guy in Magnificent Seven, and he's also in Eye back in the day. Like he looks like one of those ones too. Like I don't really know what he is. Like it's like what is that guy? You know what I mean?
You make the film black and white. He could be this. You make it color. It could be that.
Yeah, he plays a lot of diversity, but I feel like that's almost like Chuck Norris, or not Chuck Norris. Well, Chuck Norris is a weird one where he's like half or he's partially Native American and Irish.
Yeah, dude, Bronson too though. Bronson was in Honcho, I think, or Canto. It's like Chato. Canto's Law.
Oh, yeah, well, this Canto, but I think isn't there? Well, Honcho, that might be that movie of John Wayne, actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah. I realized I was wrong on that one.
Well, that's okay. But, John Wayne played, Genghis Khan, so I guess anything's possible.
I still need to watch that. That upsets me. I haven't seen it yet.
I have it on DVD. Like, I found
We're gonna take this city.
Well, and that's the funny thing. That's the funniest part about it is, like, he just plays John Wayne.
That's awesome. That makes it better.
He does. It's like he's kind of like Kevin Costner in Robin Hood, where like he just doesn't really even try the English accent.
Oh yeah, right.
He's just Kevin Costner. Maybe a couple moments he gives it kind of a go, and he's like, it's not for me.
Right. But I think Kevin Costner tried to do an accent for a minute.
Yeah. He did. There's like some scenes in Robin Hood where you can feel like, okay, he's trying here, and then it's back to normal Kevin like later on.
Right. He doesn't need to.
He doesn't have to. No, it's just like John Wayne didn't have to. Like he just came and played Genghis Khan.
Well, if you try too hard, then you are like Keanu Reeves and the Dracula movie.
Well, yeah. Well, Keanu Reeves just feels like he's like Bill and Ted, just kind of floating through that movie. Like I always think of there's that intro scene in Bram Stoker's Dracula where John Harker's literally on the stagecoach going to Dracula's castle and whatnot like this. And all this weird shit just starts happening. And Keanu's like so unfazed by it. He's just kind of like sitting there, and there's like these dogs running up behind him, just these like werewolf things. He kind of looks back. That's fucking weird. And it keeps going. Then there's like this like fire 3D fucking shit spinning around in like a circle and whatnot. And he just looks out the window again. It's like, strange. Well, whatever. Goes back. Like, nothing. It's like, all these things are kind of weird. You think you'd be getting to the point where you're like, oh, man, maybe this guy's castle, and especially when he shows up, it's like, oh, hey, here's the guy I'm about to meet. Oh, why does he have a giant butt on his head? Like,
right.
He's like, was that fashionable in the 1400s?
Dude, for real.
I always
What were you going to say?
I was going to say this real quick. I always thought in that movie, who that role I feel would be actually most ideal for is Johnny Depp at that time period. I think that's
100%.
Should have played Jonathan. And don't get me wrong, I love Keanu, but like he's more like you hire him to play Keanu. You don't really hire him to play a character. But Johnny Depp you hire to play characters, and especially him and what's his name playing Dracula? Gary Oldman. It's just like those two guys are just chewing scenery like nobody's business. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, Depp is, I feel like he's not underrated, but yeah, it's like he's underrated in his character work. Like, not that he's a great actor, but it's like everybody just wants to talk about the damn Pirates movies, which I guess are fun, but
Yeah. He almost, which I always think the funny thing is, he kind of shoehorned his way in there because if you really think about that first one, Orlando Bloom is supposed to be sold as the main character.
yeah, that's the main character.
And then it's like Johnny Depp was he's just like the side comic relief. That's all he is. But as that comes through, it's just like he literally just like pushes Orlando out of the way. It's like
He becomes the fucking franchise.
Yeah. He just takes it over, you know. That's like if
Which makes me sad.
If people really like Jar Jar Binks a lot, and somehow, some way, he just by episode 3, he was getting turned into Darth Vader somehow, some way.
Dude, that's a world. That's an alternate reality I don't want to ever live in. That's awful.
Yeah, exactly. It was one of those ones be so bizarre, but
Dude, one thing I wanted to touch on, which we talked about some of the cool tech that was in it for 1980s border protection and I guess evading the government. The sensors were cool, but that's that one specific scene where Bronson's over the wall. He's over the border and he tells the girl to go talk to the coyote because he's using like a spotting scope.
Mm-hmm.
That's like an old now the name's like I'm losing it. It's like a starlight scope or something like that. It's basically like the very first version, a little bit higher than what they had in Vietnam, but like that new version of night vision technology, which I was like, dude, that's dope. Like you saw the big old giant thing. It was like huge, massive thing the guy was holding. But I mean, it was cool seeing that because I don't think I've ever seen a movie from that time period where they're like pulling out night vision technology.
No, well, that's kind of the cool thing about the movie is it has a lot of this cool like they explain a lot of this tech and they have some stuff too. And yeah, that big old night vision was just like, oh yeah, we're popping this thing out, and we could just spot them right through, in the darkness and whatnot. And this movie's definitely shot very dark. They're like, we want to make it feel like it's really, really dark. Like it's one of those ones. It's that, and the fact that we watched it on Amazon. That sometimes every once in a while, I notice this on Amazon. They'll get like some movies where like, hey, we got the rights to this movie. And it's almost like, well, did they send us a copy of it? No. Well, Bob, you said you got that movie on VHS. Let's just upload that version onto here and we'll call it good. Like, because it happened. It's like this movie is in full screen. It was kind of like it wasn't bad quality, but it was a little bit lower than you kind of expecting. It was like definitely
when the light started to get low, you noticed it.
Yeah, it got dark fast and so on. Like,
yeah.
So it was kind of like you almost had to watch it on if you watched it on a phone, it was like forget about it. You had to watch it on a big screen at night.
It made it very grounded, though. That's what I liked. I liked that night vision. I liked the sensors that they had in the ground. I was like, okay, they're using those now. Because I did look that up. I was like, okay, what are they using on the border now? Yeah. But that was like early version of those basically sonar sensors. The night vision was cool as heck because I mean, like, if the coyotes had the night vision technology and the border agents were all running around with 6-shooters, you know what I mean? And like pump shotguns, and Ed Harris is running around with his automatic, submachine gun and night vision and his tiger stripe camo. I'm like, well, no wonder he's so successcul. Yeah. Well, he's like, I can see you, bitch.
Yeah, he took all this stuff from Vietnam. He's ready to go.
Yeah, that part was dope. Like, it was so cool because I'm obviously a nerd for that kind of stuff. But
oh yeah. Well, it's even just like I like that tracking part too, where like Charles Bronson explains like when he cuts the boot and so on, and he explains he's like, oh yeah, we cut in a certain section right here so that we can see who's us and who's them and so on like that. And I mean that's literally towards the end when he needs to track down Ed Harris, he finds that boot print. And he's like, oh, Ed Harris was kind of in a sense one of us. Like we know what his boot is now. We can follow him.
Right. I mean that part was cool. All the gunfight scenes in it, as few as there were, which were 2,
yeah. I was really waiting. Like, I remember like when I got to about the last 20 minutes of this movie, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be one of those 70s movies where like, like it starts off and there's a little brief action in the beginning, and then maybe there's like that like hour of kind of not nothing in a bad way, but like nothing as far as action goes. And then at the very end, there's going to be a big old shootout or something like that, like Rolling Thunder, which I don't know if you've seen that one yet, but I keep telling you about the Rolling Thunder movie. But that's 100% how that one plays out. They literally go down to Mexico, and the very end, it's just like Tommy Lee Jones and, what's his name? Trying to draw a blank. But he just start blasting up the living daylights out of the place and everything like that. It's amazing.
I need to check that out.
It's so good. It's one of the Tommy Lee Jones has one of the best lines like I've ever seen in a movie. Like I'm drawing such a blank on that dude's name, the main character, but whatever. He goes to call on his buddy from Vietnam, Tommy Lee Jones. So they were stuck in a POW camp for like 8 years and whatnot, and they're just not like just regular society is just not cutting it anymore. And when he needs to go get full on revenge for this group that like took out his family and everything like that, he goes to Tommy Lee Jones. He's like, I need your help. And all Tommy Lee Jones does, he looks at him and goes, I'll grab my things. Right? Or he's like, I'll grab my bag. And it's like, that's it. He already knew 100% what needs to be done without having to say anything else.
Yeah, that's legit.
So dude, it's badass. It's one of those ones. It's Paul Schrader, so it's the same dude did Taxi Driver or wrote Taxi Driver. So yeah, it's amazing. It's one of those ones I watched it a couple times, and it just only gets better. But I was almost expecting this movie to kind of come out like that, like, oh shit, the end here. Charles Bronson's gonna unload on all these guys. I don't know who else he was gonna really shoot, to tell you the truth, but
he's gonna take out all of Mexico.
Yeah, I thought
you ain't coming around here no more.
Ed Harris was all of a sudden going to have all these mercenary guys with him or something like that, and it was going to get intense. And of course, Charles Bronson would be by himself. Our Italian guy was going to get like wounded halfway through and be like, "Go on without me." One of those moments. But it doesn't happen. There's more just this a little bit of dirt road car chase scene of.
Okay, that one was pretty laughable, but at the same time, that Trans Am wasn't going to get too far on those dirt roads.
No,
it wasn't going to work out.
No, so
but the opening shotgun scene, that part was pretty crazy.
Yeah, that had some good violence in there too. Yeah, because like, dude, when he blasts him with that, it's like you get some nice gore coming out there. He just takes out that police officer or that sheriff.
The look on his face too, like I was just like, oh damn, Ed Harris, you've had it since day one basically. That menacing look where he has the shotgun trained on him and he makes eye contact with the cop and he's just like that, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Doesn't say a word, but just like his look says everything.
Yeah. And it's an interesting one, too, because it's like he blasts that sheriff, but for some reason there's the young Mexican kid who was riding in the front at first, but for some reason decided to go stand next to the sheriff.
Right.
And he catches a side shot of the shotgun and whatnot and the spray, and he's sitting there bleeding out and whatnot, and, there's nothing they can do for him, so Ed Harris just gives up and blasts him right in the head, too, and just finishes him off. Just like brutal. Yeah. I'm like, because that's the thing is that sets up the tone. You're like, oh shit, we're gonna get some intense stuff going on here. Like after I saw that, I'm like, oh, it's going down.
Ed Harris does all the killing in the film.
Yeah, pretty much. Other than Charles Bronson needs to put an end to Ed Harris.
Yeah, his tiger stripes too. I was like, man, this is cool. He's wearing tiger stripes. Like, what was he in Vietnam? Because not everybody had tiger stripes.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I was like, why are you wearing those on the border of a desert? That's like jungle fatigues. Like, it's like, you're playing Metal Gear Solid 3, and you're like, I really like this camo. I don't care if, I'm negative 40% camouflaged.
Yeah, I'm wearing
Let's go.
The urban camo outside.
Tuxedo all day, son.
Yeah,
I'll show you.
Well, for any of those soldiers, be like, did you see a guy in a tuxedo run by? He's like, it's best I don't investigate this.
Right. I don't want to die today. Have you seen those cobras, man? They're all fucking crazy.
Yeah,
there's a dude covered in bees.
I caught a glimpse of that river, and I saw 300 dead souls crossing.
Yeah, right. I was just trying to take a piss, man.
I always love that part where it's just like, I think that's such a cool part in Metal Gear Solid 3 where, like, you know, all the guys you kill before that part, when you get to the Sorrow and whatnot, like, all show up there, which also could make that part really drag on, too.
Oh, God, yeah. When you have, like, a second playthrough and you're like, man, I really love just storming dudes with the shotgun and watching their bodies fly.
Yeah, exactly. And watching their throats get cut off a knife and so on. Yeah, it makes you kind of go like, it's not like, oh man, it's like you should feel bad for all the killing you did. It's more, it's like, wow, no, look, yeah, it's like a trophy room almost. I'm gonna see it all over.
So, yeah. What are you trying to tell me here, Kojima?
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I started using the tranquilizer gun is because it just makes that scene shorter.
Right.
So I don't have to go through it for days, but yeah. Yeah,
dude, I just replayed that, and I'm still blown away by like, and yeah, it was like the remastered, or well, not remastered,
just the set.
Like the PlayStation 3 version.
Okay, that's the I played through on that actually, not like maybe 2 years ago on the PS3 version again.
Okay, so the Fury scene like holds up still. I was like, man, I forgot how awesome this was. Like this. Like, I wish I could recapture seeing that the first time on PlayStation 2, way back in the day.
Yeah, that
whole
version.
Fury death scene. Yeah.
Especially when it's the original version before they have the camera changes. That makes actually a huge difference, you know? Like,
oh, it makes it so much better.
When it has that Metal Gear Solid 2 camera style.
Yeah. Yeah, being able to move the camera is huge on that game.
Yeah.
It's like Ed Harris having thermals and night vision. Crossing the border.
Yeah.
It really helps.
Yeah, you know, unlike playing on European difficulty or whatever.
Yeah, no thanks. I can't do that no more.
Yeah, nowadays it's like, I don't need to challenge myself that much where, like, if one dude spots me, that's it. Start from the very beginning again.
No, that's like a level of just masochism that is not okay with me. Yeah. That's why I can't do Elden Ring and Dark Souls. I just can't do them.
No, it's like I want kind of like, I like what I call like, it needs to be challenging, but not so much like it's just kicking you in the nuts and throwing you down the stairs over and over again. You know, like, it's like I want to still make some progress here. I got things to do. There's other games I want to play. You know.
Well, I feel like I've become so lazy when it comes to video games now. They had that, I think it was like WWE 2K23 or 24 for free on PlayStation. And I went and I was like, okay, I'm going to play this. And I'm like, no, it's not WrestleMania 2000 where I could just spam, power moves and just destroy somebody and toy with them the whole time.
Well, you probably would like that AEW one then, because that one actually plays like WrestleMania 2000. It's just the only downfall is that it doesn't have the old classic wrestlers. I feel like that's what that engine needs. You just need a classic. Use that engine, but put it with like a Legends of Wrestling kind of game.
Right. I remember us playing that back in the day. It was either like SmackDown or WrestleMania 2000, and literally made a character where all his movesets were basically like other people's finishers. And it was just the stupidest thing ever, and like taunts to where you do like hardy backflips and like corkscrews in the air, and you could just jump over people that are running the ropes. It was like the ultimate cheat character of all time.
Yeah, it's just you just could make it because you can. I mean, nothing's gonna stop you.
Right.
Oh man, yeah, no, yeah, it's one of those ones. I'm at that point too. Where there's this plethora of kind of things just sitting there. It's like, Silent Hill 2 remake. That looks interesting. I've been there before, but why not? Let's see it again. Then there's that Starship Troopers one, which I'm kind of excited about.
I'm excited for that.
Then there's a new Batman Arkham game on VR. It's just like, oh god, it's like overwhelming here. All these things coming at once.
Do you have a VR set?
I do have a VR set. So I feel like I need to get that Batman one just so I can get my full experience out of it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So
and just do like horribly obscene things to like Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah. Well, it looks like they finally got it where it's like they got the games where it's kind of like, okay, it's full VR, because that's what's cool. It's like whenever they get those ones where they're kind of like the half-ass ones, like, okay, it's cool. I know what you're trying to get people used to it, but Like just give me like a regular game that just happens to be like converted into VR. That's all it needs to be. Like,
yeah, that'd be awesome.
It was proven perfectly well with Resident Evil 4. Like you play that in VR and you're like, exactly. It's already an amazing game. You throw the VR in it, it's like I'm literally walking through the whole world. Do that with like way more things. It's like, so, but I think that Batman one might be that one where it's like, oh, this is where they're going to get real, you're going to feel like you're playing a legit like game, and then it happens to have all the VR mechanics to top it off.
I mean, that would be cool because I mean, you have like the whole mechanic with the counters. I could just see that being actually like a lot of fun. Probably like a bit of a workout too, if you have to do all the punch combos too.
Yeah.
I mean, because Batman's fucking out of his mind in those games. He doesn't just like, knock a dude out. He's like, I'm gonna fucking cripple you forever.
Well, that was like I think it was like the fourth Batman game. I love because they introduced that thing where you could beat the guys up when they're on the ground, and I don't know why that was so satisfying. Just when
oh god,
ground, you just start smashing their face in and so on like that.
Yes, I love it.
That was like there was another game that called Mother Russia Bleeds, which was like one of those kind of like beat 'em up games.
Yeah. In
that game, you could beat the guys up on the ground. I don't know what it is. It sounds so weird. When there's a video game where you could still attack the guys when they're on the ground, it gives you such more satisfying. Like I'm like, fuck you, I'm gonna take you out right here. What makes you special?
It's like one of the best mechanics I've seen in a beat 'em up game. Like you straight up get into like a mount position. You're just like smashing them in.
And that game's super.
And then you take your drugs.
That was a great one, but yeah, that and yeah, there's just a handful of those ones right there, right now. But and then there's the top off. There's that new Call of Duty. I'm just gonna play it for the campaign because that's what I like about Call of Duty. I like the campaign. I could care less about anything else, but the campaign I've always enjoyed. So. Except for those few times where they pull a fast one on you and you download the game thinking it's going to be great, and they're like, oh yeah, no campaign in this version. Like, oh, you just maybe download 150 gigs for nothing.
yeah, they got me before. I bought the game. I can't remember which Black Ops it was.
It was like Black Ops 4 or something like that screwed.
Yeah.
I remember I was so disappointed. I'm like, what is this? Like, no campaign? What's the point? You know what I mean? That's all I'm here for. I just want the story mode.
Right. I wish somebody would go in and like one of my favorite campaign games is the like last iteration of Medal of Honor. I think it was like Warfighter.
Oh yeah.
The one where you're in like Iraq or something like that.
Yeah.
That was actually a fun campaign, and like it did some of the things right where I was like, okay, this is like kind of legit. This is kind of legit combat feel. I mean, it's over the top because it's a video game, but
yeah,
I was like, okay, I could deal with this.
No, that one was a cool. I have that on PS3. I think wasn't there a second one? I don't know if maybe not. That might have been
remember
one of the last Medal of Honor. There's actually a Medal of Honor game. I've looked at it on the Quest VR that looks really badass. It's just one of those ones. A lot of those Quest games just don't ever drop that much in price. So you're like, oh, it's on sale. Well, what's it on sale for? $5 off. Oh, doesn't seem like that much, But it looks really sweet. I mean, like you just watch the trailer and just running in, grabbing machine guns, shooting people up, and so on. And I think I told you this before, but it's like with the Sniper Elite and so on that's on there. It's on the VR. It's like. When you shoot a gun in VR, it's like you're really accurate because it's like shooting a real gun. So you just like literally point, aim down the sights, look down the sights, whatever you need to do, and it's like it feels about as real as you possibly can get. So it makes like shots like very more legitimate and so on like that. Plus then they add in the kind of cool like where they have like you have to do like the full reloading and everything like that, which is kind of neat.
Yeah. No, that sounds awesome. I've seen companies where they make like where it basically holds your VR controls, and you could change like I guess the positioning of them for different guns in like certain games.
Yeah, well, I noticed on some of them there, it's like just like where you hold them at, because you just like sort of grip on, and then and then you cock it back, you throw in the clips or whatever you need to do, which is kind of neat. Like there is that one that was it's kind of pretty much like Time Crisis called Crisis Brigade 2 or whatever. And it's more arcade style, but it was like, it literally has that feeling of like Police 911 that we used to play all the time in the arcades.
Oh, God, yeah.
You had to literally duck and move and everything. Like that's literally how this is. And I remember like after playing...
Take off your hat!
Yeah. Threatening things. Poor kid's like, it's not a hat, it's my afro.
Yeah, bro.
But I remember after playing that game for a while, it's like, dude, it was like my knees were fucking banged up from like dropping down to go behind cover and then pop back up again. I was like, I gotta take a break here. It's like, put knee pads on, I guess, to play this thing. Just
right. That sounds awesome, though.
Yeah, because you just smash down and then pop up, smash down again. So, like, it's like that's the ones I wish they would do more of that stuff. There's like some really cool things for VR. It's just like I feel like there's not enough to sell it to like everybody yet. It's still like at that point where it's like it's more like you get a cool toy to play with and to dick around with and mod and so on like that. But it's like I see where these possibilities where it's like, oh, dude, once this gets like really dialed in, it's gonna be super badass, and especially
it's getting there.
Yeah, once I feel like too, the big thing is like they need to take like once the big companies just say like, oh yeah, that new Call of Duty game, it's in fucking VR, and that's the main system it's made for, so you better get that. I think that's what needs to kind of happen. Is they need to go where that kind of is, and then like the VR once it gets the price down. Because right now it's still expensive. / the only downfall is it looks almost like a generation behind, if not a little bit more sometimes. So it does kind of feel like it doesn't look like PS5 quality. It looks kind of like, it sounds weird. Some of the games almost kind of look like a high-end PS2 game.
Really?
Yeah, like it's like it's like a very crisp PS2 game. But yeah, it's they don't have like the ridiculous detail. Maybe PS3 even, but yeah, for shooting all kinds of stuff, I don't know what it is. It's like that's like the best. I just wish someone would just convert all the light gun games into there. That's all you need to do, and you'd have some.
Oh, that'd be so amazing.
Just because even if it's just a big screen and you're playing stuff like Lethal Enforcers and all that kind of stuff, just the accuracy of the controller is just uncanny. You know what I mean? Like even old school light guns. Remember when we used to play Lethal Enforcers on Super Nintendo? You know how that gun? You would sit there and you'd try to be like, okay, we got it all calibrated and everything like that. But then it's like it never stayed 100%. It's still kind of shot around. I guess like a real gun, but it's not like dialed in 100%. But
right. I don't know. I think if you did like put all the time crises on there. And instead of the foot pedal, you have to actually get up and down behind the cover. I mean, that's like perfect.
Yeah. Well, because that's thing is that Crisis Brigade does that so well because of like, sometimes you're ducking behind like a wall or ducking behind like, like a table or something like that. But then sometimes you have to lean up against the side of a wall. So like it's pretty, and then pop out on the side,
awesome.
fucking Metal Gear style. Yeah. So it's like, dude, it's one of those ones. Next time that we ever get together in person, I just got to 100% show you that because it's just too cool. It's like that. That's the best.
That sounds awesome.
I wish there was more of those games because that game's like the coolest thing. And it's like, there's a first one which is kind of more like a trial. Like they're like, they're figuring everything out. It's got a little bit cartoony graphics and so on. But that second one's just like it's 100% gives you that mix of Time Crisis and Police 911, and you have to legitimately. So I've ran into a couple things too before because sometimes I don't got the most amount of space in my house, and you turn, slap your hand against metal, and you're like, fuck, and you can't see it because you're inside the world. So you're like, I don't know what I just hit.
Right.
So.
It's funny that what you talk about when you're talking about like the ability to aim on those games because there's a gun tuber I follow and he does competition shooting and he has a VR setup to where he has like a 3D printed pistol that's his competition pistol and he'll shoot still targets in virtual reality.
Interesting. So he could practice without spending money generally in a sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, I mean, you're not going to feel recoil or anything, but he's like transitioning between targets rapidly.
Yeah.
And it does the whole ping with the steel falling and, it just resets itself. So he could just, do that for hours if he ever, just wanted to.
Yeah, well, and the thing too, I guess if you get the weight dialed into the gun, that's the key thing, so that you're comfortable with that part. Where
it's some sort of practice.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's one of those ones. I always feel that it's that thing that, every single time I go to shoot a gun, I always go like, oh, my accuracy's still pretty good. I guess all the video games always keep that up at least.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah,
no, there's something to say that for that with video games. I mean, it's proven that it like improves some people's hand-eye coordination. I mean, it only makes sense.
yeah, it's one of those ones, especially with the light gun games. But yeah, that and then plane games are fucking sweet too. Like because you could be kind of lazy and sit down in them, but but it makes you feel like I'm in the plane. And there's like two of them. I got one's a World War one, which makes it feel really fucking special because you just in there and you fucking in the cockpit and you can look down, look at the fucking Germans coming at you and whatnot like that. You
That's
can pick
crazy.
up grenades and fucking chuck them out the side like an animal.
That's awesome.
And you're looking down at it like, oh, there's that fuck.
Do they have any like simulators where it's like jumbo jets and stuff like that?
No, I don't think so. See, that's the thing is like, here's another thing.
Of course they don't. Not after 9/11, son. They're like, this is too good.
Yeah, well, I remember that was a problem. Like, even like I think it was like they back in the old Microsoft Flight Simulator, they had to take out. I think it was the 2001 version or whatever. They had to like put out a patch because people were making videos crashing into the Twin Towers because they're still in that game.
Oh, dude, right.
If you did, that would be pretty badass, though, if you combine the VR with even just like the new version of Microsoft Flight Simulator, because there's a newer one coming out now, but I think that one's more like it has like just more shit, like kind of stuff to do that's beyond just flying a plane. But because that game's like one of those ones, I remember when that first came out, I was like, oh man, that new version, you could just like fly around and search for everybody's fucking houses that because it's that like realistic.
That's ridiculous.
You just get a slow plane and you just creep fly over everywhere.
That takes like Google Map stalking to like a whole different level.
Yeah, it's Google Map stalking, but you got to fly a plane at the same time, like, and you can take it off from any local airport. My favorite thing is you take like one of those like small ass airports that only has like generally like single prop planes, and you take off a 747 from there because you can.
Right. No one can stop me.
Yeah, exactly. Full speed ahead. Yeah. So yeah, but that stuff there. It'd be a great VR game is if they made one where you gotta play a Charles Bronson here in Borderline.
Dude, that'd be awesome. I was just thinking, I was like, man, those are the tools that Ed Harris needed in Borderline. He would have been able to make it.
He would have, yeah. Well, because there's only one thing that could stop Ed Harris. That's it. There's only one thing. He would have been doing fine for years, but then Charles Bronson came, and that's it.
Dude, that's like what's his name? Dan Carlin has like the greatest analogy ever, and I can't remember exactly off the top of my head who he was talking about, but it was like two of the most dangerous people in like that part of the world. One of them's Charles Bronson, but he's a little bit older, and the other one's Clint Eastwood. And you're like, well, maybe Charles Bronson's a little bit older, but that's Charles Bronson. Like, you don't fuck with Charles.
Exactly. I feel that's kind of how it is. It's like, you're not going to win, Charles Bronson.
Dude, yeah. And he looks ancient. Like, that's one of the things that always shock me every time I watch a Bronson movie. Yeah. I'm like, okay, when was this movie? Like, I think it was like 79 or 80 for Borderline.
I think the movie came out in 80, but like, I think the movie takes place in 79 because I remember seeing that. You see 79 in there a couple times.
Okay, well, he looks fucking old.
Yeah, well, he was in World War II flying a bomber plane or a gunner in a bomber plane, a B-29 or something like that.
Right.
So if that tells you anything, because Clint Eastwood was in the Korean War, so there's where that age gap is.
Right. It just blows me away. But I mean, Hard Times is also a 70s one, right?
Yeah, because I think that's like 76 or 77.
Okay. He's fucking jacked.
Yeah.
He still looks old.
Yeah, and he's probably like, 50 something in that movie.
Yeah, I don't know. It's part of the reason why I love Charles Bronson so much. One is because he's jacked.
Yeah.
And he kind of like, not to throw Randy Bullock into this podcast, but at times I look at Charles Bronson, I'm like, this motherfucker looks like my dad.
so true.
Like, dude, like his hair all parted and his mustache. I'm like, fuck, it's my dad.
That's probably your dad was emulating. You know what I mean? I feel like that's the thing.
That's my dad's favorite actor too, which is weird.
So it's starting to all make sense.
Yeah, I told him about this. He's like, is it Chanto's Law? Is it Mr. Majestic? Hard Times? Which movie are you talking about? And I was like, Borderland or Borderline? He was like, just looked at me like,
yeah. We picked the most bizarre Charles Bronson movie to go. If I feel
right. Right. He's like, I would understand like a police story or whatever it's called, or a family of cops, but okay.
Yeah. We went. Well, as I said, it's one of those ones. Like I knew that there were some other Charles Bronson movies that were on other stuff. I'm like, well, that means we might have to either rent him, subscribe to him, or whatnot. You know, other than like some of those old school big ones. But yeah,
I think. Yeah, we could do Mr. Majestic if you wanted to do another Bronson one. Because I'll be honest, the movie wasn't bad, but it wasn't great.
Yeah,
it wasn't great.
That's how I feel. It's one of those ones, like Borderline. It was like one of those ones. I was kind of maybe expecting a little bit more, but maybe this is. I mean, it's not. Charles Bronson still has a handful of more years of movies left in him, and so it's not like his total tail end. But yeah, you know what sounds weird? It feels like it was a made-for-TV movie, other than that one shotgun scene.
Right, that for sure. Yeah, because even when Ed Harris gets schwacked, I mean, it was like, okay, he's dead. Yeah. All right, well, we're moving on. And, dude, to prove your point with the made-for-TV movie part, where everyone's going to court. And like, what was the longest sentence? The dude spent like 2 to 5 years and a $5,000 fine.
Yeah,
that was it.
That was all.
That was all.
All for trafficking people. Like literally, it said like like
It was harboring illegal aliens was his charge.
Yeah, so setting up that shanty town that that they had to go to.
Yeah, and then the big corporate cat, he got no time.
Yeah, the mobster looking dude.
Right. But yeah, so like when it paused to let you read like where it was like in 1979, 5 million illegal immigrants crossed over the border. Like all music stopped. It was just dead silence.
I thought the thing glitched for a second. I was like, oh my God.
Me too.
Because it pauses and then it waits a moment for those subtitles to even come up. There's no music. Like, this is what I thought. When I saw that, I'm like, this is what they need to do there. Because I think I could see what they're doing. Because there was that photographer guy coming by, snapping some pictures and whatnot. Like, they were trying to do that thing like, oh, it's a picture thing. Well, they should have paused it, turn it black and white or something so it makes us know what the hell is going on.
Right. Yeah. Right. It was odd. It was odd.
It was a weird, that was a weird creative. Somebody had this idea like, oh, I got a great idea here. I just want to try it out. Never done it before. And they're like, whatever.
Right. And the one kid, the Italian kid, where he's just like, oh, this is crazy. They're going to get off with none. They're just going to go scot-free. And he's like, don't worry, kid. Oh, no. He's like, they're just going to be right back at it next week. And he's like, don't worry, kid. So will we. The Border Patrol.
I know. I love that. It's just like, it doesn't matter. We're just going to repeat this cycle here. Taxpayer dollars.
This is going to go on forever until Donald Trump
finishes that damn wall.
He's going to build that wall. No more barbed wire fences. We're going to have slightly better fences. Slightly.
And, night vision for everyone.
Ain't nobody gonna have 6-shooters no more.
We're gonna have full-on assault rifles.
Dude, that's why I was waiting for like the moment where they go through like a tunnel or something. But that didn't happen.
No, this one's like old school where like you just get in the back of like a fruit van and
right.
Next thing you know, you wake up there. Well, unless you're that lady who decided to like, hunker inside the engine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't worry. The gringo will be back down here to find herself a new maid. I was like, oh, shit. Okay. Put her in my engine bay. Come on, Venezuela. We're going to go across the border now.
Yeah, exactly. There's more than enough room in there. Don't worry about it. That radiator.
Don't worry, I'll be fine.
Radiator's practically brand new. It's all going to work out.
It's not even that hot. Fucked up, dude.
But yeah,
Oh god.
but yeah, this movie could not be more like. I'm surprised this thing needs to like be like resurgence, thrown back in cinemas.
I mean, it could go. The only problem is, there's some verbiage that they use that's not for polite company anymore.
No, there's a term thrown around just casually in this one.
Yeah. It has a lot to do with being damp, and they refer to everybody like, "Oh yeah, that guy's damp."
Yeah, Ed Harris likes to say it a lot too, as our token white-haired like.
Right.
Yeah.
I did think that part was cool. That was very well written. How they basically gave him no name. He was just the Marine.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Well, really, I'll say that's the biggest takeaway of this movie is the Ed Harris character. I think that's the best part.
Oh yeah, he was phenomenal.
Yeah, he was so good, and it's like one of those ones. This is your introduction to Ed Harris. Like I feel like if there's like a main reason you got to go see this is just to see Ed Harris like in that role. And it sounds weird when he's with Charles Bronson. I mean, but Charles Bronson's just as good as always because it doesn't matter what he's in. You know what I mean?
He's solid.
But you know that already. But Ed Harris in this one, it's like, oh, dude, he's fucking killing it in here.
Yeah, one of the coolest lines was with Ed Harris where he finds the sensor. He's like, "Hey, come here. I'm going to show you something." He cuts the sensor out. And the guy's like, "Oh, you're pretty smart for a gringo." And he's like, Uncle Sam, spent a lot of money teaching me on how to evade people or something like that.
Yeah. I remember that one there. He's like, yeah. There it is,
And then old chest explosion guy.
Yeah.
Which, the whole time I was looking at that dude, I just kept thinking of who was the guy from Walker, Texas Ranger? I have diabetes.
Oh God, yeah, that dude.
I was getting those vibes the whole time, just like I'm about to retire and I have diabetes. But what was his line? It was like, "Sleep well, America. Your taxpayers or your tax money's hard at work," or something like that.
Well, that was the line you like text me instantly. I'm like, dude, I'm sold already. I'm like, I haven't even turned this movie on yet. I'm like, that should be on the movie poster.
Right. I was shocked that was in there. I was like, oh wow.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a movie of that time. Well, it's I feel like it's a good historical to tell you exactly what the situation was like in 1979, and that we need our Charles Bronsons out there.
Well, yeah, and it's awesome to tell you that basically nothing's fucking changed.
No. The only difference is that there's less shanty towns for them now, and there's full on checks coming.
Oh God. Yeah,
because this one's all more, but like I felt like the moral of the story that Charles Bronson's character was trying to get across was that like, he's like, you pretty much, because he pretty much was like he was like freeing slaves is really what Charles Bronson was doing, because this dude was like, he was paying him like super low wages, like literally just had him live on the edge of his property. They're like out there, like the whole family's out there and whatnot, like living in like, box tents and so on like that, cooking beans off like an old barrel, like a burn barrel type thing.
Right.
And, there's that part too where Charles Bronson tells like the Italian guys like, "Hey, you might as well go take a look. Might learn something." And the Italian guy's just like never seen anything like this from like Brooklyn.
Right. And he pops his cherry.
Yeah. He goes in there and he's just like staring at all these people. These people are like, "What the fuck is this guy?"
Yeah. Why are you looking at me like this?
Get out of my fucking home.
Get out. Take your shoes off before you come into my dirt floored shack.
Yeah, damn it. Stop looking at my daughter.
Yeah, what the fuck's wrong? Why is your hat on crooked? You fucking wop.
He's slapping him. Think you're fucking tough or something?
Yeah. But no, that's where I'm confused though. Like I think that's probably like the one thing I'm most upset with on that movie, because I'm like, okay, there's a message here, but I don't fucking know what it is. Is it we need to shore up the border? Is it we need to like reform immigration policies? Like, what's your fucking message?
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those ones like it's like a weird one because like the Charles Bronson character makes it feel once again like he's out there pretty much stopping like slave trade in a sense and trafficking. But then it's like a
chick almost gets raped when they're going across the border.
Yeah, they just get jumped at one point in the pure darkness, which this movie does capture. So it show. I think that's the thing is I guess it's showing the danger.
It is the other main character, the darkness. It's the other main.
Yeah. It's the one that you got to watch this on a normal TV. Don't expect you'll be lost if you watch this anywhere else. Only those daytime scenes, which there's not that many of them.
Right. But do you think I'm crazy that it seemed like there was a message there? It just didn't get translated.
Yeah. Because I think almost like the initial message is just it's to let everybody know, be like, hey, by the way, this happens every day, and this many people come in. Like that very last paragraph that pops up.
Yeah, that might be it.
I think that kind of was, but it's almost like that. But there isn't really like a follow up. Like, well, what do we do about this? It does not answer.
No.
According to Charles Bronson, they get released. We keep doing our job.
Right. He keeps collecting your taxpayer money.
Yeah, what I mean? Like, hey, if we solve this issue, we're out of work, guys.
Right? Yeah, dude, that's like the homeless in San Francisco and
California. Just the homeless almost everywhere in California. That's the one thing anymore. It's like,
dude, where's that movie?
Yeah, exactly. Where's Charles Bronson? Damn it! Why is Charles Bronson gone? We need him now more than ever.
I'm here to clean up the homeless.
Charles Bronson coming in to round them all up and so on like that.
Yeah. What's Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say just keep them from crossing the streets in the middle of the night and starting fires and shit.
Right. Clean them up when Chinese dignitaries come to town.
Yeah, the only time. Nobody still knows where they put them at.
Right. Could have done this at any moment in time, but,
Yeah, why? Yeah. I feel like China does that thing. This is where it feels like this like conspiracy, but like I keep thinking that China's like, no, this is all working out for our favor because here's the thing. We've been waiting since the 1800s for this to finally happen, and they're going to lose hold of San Francisco. But guess who's going to get hold? China.
And then the main character from Warrior shows up.
Exactly. That's what
he's like, I'm no onion no more.
That's it. China's just like we're going to own all of San Francisco. That has been the goal since 1849.
That's their whole goal on like the global stage was just to take San Francisco. That's all they've ever wanted.
Make it all Chinatown. Kick Japantown out of there. No more Little Italy. You know what I mean? It's all Chinatown.
Yeah.
But yeah,
their staging ground is Panda Express because no one would suspect because nobody Chinese ever works there.
No, that's always the thing I know. It's also the other joke I always say too is like they always have those signs that they had for the longest time for a couple of years where it said like, oh, if you're a manager, you can make 6 figures here and so on like that. I'm like, have you ever seen a manager at Panda Express that's not like straight up from China? I mean, they're all Chinese, but I mean, they're like all like full Chinese. They're not Chinese American, you know what I mean? They're like pure Chinese. So I feel that is such a loophole. It leads everybody else thinking that they're going to get that, that 6-figure salary working at Panda Express. There's no way they'll ever be able to.
Dude, I'm in Arkansas now. All the Panda Express like managers are like, I don't know, they're either Mexican or white. Every single one.
So
yeah.
But they're probably not getting that weird 6-figure salary that they can get in California.
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd be a little shocked.
I felt like Panda Express is the one that sort of like set a fire going because I think everybody picked up that sign and took it to their job and said, what the serious fuck? They're paying them this much to work at Panda Express? You got to pay me a lot more for my job now.
Dude, have you ever been to a Buc-ee's?
No, that sounds awesome. That sounds like that should be tied into like some kind of like Captain America.
Oh, dude. Restaurant. Buc-ee's it's a gas station. And anybody who's listening to this who's in the South and has been to Buc-ee's are like, he's fucking not telling it right. But it's a gas station that is like it is the perfect example of America. So you can't just have, 10 pumps. You have 100 fucking pumps. You can't just have, you can't just have a hot food court. You got to have brisket. You got to have like smoked meats and sausage and chicken and pulled pork sandwiches and all kinds of crazy stuff. And workers who, when they pull the brisket and they go to cut it, they're like, hot brisket on the board. And then you got to be able to buy.
Like, maybe I should get some.
Exactly. And then you got to have a meat stand like you're at a butcher shop, but it's nothing but jerky. And it's every flavor of jerky you could think of. Soda walls that line, like soda fountains that line the walls. And then basically you could buy anything you want. You could buy a fucking gun. Not really. You can't buy a gun. At least any of the ones I went to. But if one did sell guns, I wouldn't be surprised. But you could buy like optics for guns. You could buy clothing. You could buy shoes. You could buy fishing poles. You could buy grills.
How big is this like the size of like a Cabela's or something like that?
No. They're not that big. But I mean, they're big. You should just look one up just for fun. And then if you ever get out this way, I'd be like, dude, we're going to Buc-ee's. I got to show you this. Because it's the ultimate American thing, bro. It's so American. Like fat people everywhere you look.
I would expect none less there. It sounds like it with all the food they're giving out and all like the sodas and all that stuff. Dude,
it's amazing.
I'm down for checking that out. It's that, and I know like a Bojangles. I've never checked out one of those, but
I haven't got to that yet. I'm
waiting for the Bojangles, and the Bojangles always has some of the best like movie tie-in type stuff, and there's stuff there. It's like, man, I feel like I'm missing out.
Right? Yeah. You don't get that in California.
No, well,
they don't have gas stations that are like the perfect, symbolism for America.
That's the thing is, well, like every gas station in the South is quite large. Like it's got a lot going on, and if you don't got good fried chicken at your gas station, then you've done something wrong. Because that's the one thing I always liked about it, especially in like Tennessee, is that like you were never too far from some good fried chicken. Always guaranteed. Shit, you go to the Max Muscle, which I could never expect to see this in like the one in California, but remember the Max Muscle in Tennessee, the guy, and one of the first things he's like, man, now how many of the fried chicken places you guys tried? You from California? What? I'm going to make a list out here, right? These are my top 5 favorite ones. You got to try the fried chicken. And I'm like, really? The guy at Max Muscle is really sending me off on a fried chicken crusade.
Right. I gotta learn this, boy. He don't know yet.
Hey, you boys need to be doing the bulking now, so you're gonna be needing to do the fried chicken. That's how the fighters all trained. You remember that from back in the day?
Oh yeah, because that's perfect. What you need.
So
I was in Mississippi before, and like I can't remember the name of the restaurant, but there's like this black lady out front, and I was like, what do they have here? And she's like, oh, they have fried chicken, baby. And I was like, oh, sweet. I was like, is it good? And she just like looked at me like I just said the stupidest thing. And I was like, oh shit.
Hey, well, I'm sorry. I've never ate here before. Just asking, You're
right. I am a piece of shit. I apologize. And that's why they're coming across the border, Spence.
that's why. See, well, those were the other states are like, see, those Californians are coming across the border asking stupid fucking questions about fried chicken. Right. That was like when I remember in Tennessee trying to look for soy sauce, and boy, was that like the most confusing thing ever. I remember I was literally at a fucking one of those giant Walmarts that's like literally twice the size of a Walmart in California, and I remember I was just like, I'm like, do you guys got any soy sauce here? And my lady's like, soy sauce. Just looking around like I've asked this, it's like, I've never heard of soy sauce before. And then she goes over to this old dude, and she's like, Bill, come on over here. He's like, you ever heard no soy sauce? And this guy comes by like, soy sauce, the war, Asia. Like he's like piecing it together and whatnot. Like
Charlie's in the tree line.
yeah, and he's like, yes, aisle 17. Yeah, and then he takes me over there, and then lo and behold, they actually had some of the best soy sauce selection ever. I mean, they had the Hawaiian one that I really like. That's really hard to find in California. So it's like, dude, you guys got all the best soy sauce here. Like, you don't know about this. Like, what's going on? It's like I didn't think I was asking for something that complicated. Like, what? You never been to like a Chinese restaurant before? You know what that little like Kikkoman thing is? Like that's soy sauce. Like
that orange chicken's too spicy for me, son. I ain't doing it.
Yeah. That panda, he's got that mean mugging me every time I come in there. That's fighting words, I tell you.
Right, dude. That's what infuriates me being here is like every once in a while I'll find like a good Mexican restaurant that's like pretty legit. Mm-hmm. But most of the time everything's smothered in cheese sauce. And I'm just like, God damn.
Yeah.
Charles Bronson's doing too good of a job. I can't get my good Mexican food.
Yeah. That's what they're sending them out of that plane, to different places.
Oh, he sent them all to Chicago.
Yeah,
damn corporate man.
Chicago's where it's going. Well, because you got that mobster guy in fucking Borderline that gets away scot-free because nobody like, what's this guy? How is he involved in here?
Right.
Yeah,
That's probably the weakest part of that movie because that I don't understand how he's making money off of that.
Yeah, it's like
I get you can, but how much are you actually going to make off that by sending low wage workers to people who can't afford to pay other folks to do the job? You need someone who you can pay $2 an hour.
Yeah, well, then it's like the sending him off, like the trafficking thing. It's like, are they doing that thing where you're like a mobster thing where they're like collecting on we take 10% of whatever you make here. I don't think
right.
I don't know if that's like what's going on here.
Well, he was obviously some Wall Street guy because he made a whole statement when he was getting the numbers read to him. He was like, I need this doubled by Christmas. But he's like, Bill. Just imagine one day, what did he say? One day you'll be able to trade wets on the market or something like that. And I was like, what? You're going to trade people on the stock exchange?
Yeah, where's this going?
What?
Yeah, these are those guys it's coming back. Let me tell you, it's coming back. We're going to be able to sell these people. It's going to all work out great,
Right. It was slightly offensive and also very confusing plot line.
Yeah. Even Charles Bronson, he's just I just got to keep fighting the good fight. That's all I do,
I'm just going to keep taking that. Sleep well, America. Your taxpayer money is at work.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the moral of the story is that this thing just goes in a circle and people come across, they get sent back. Guys get thrown in jail, they get taken out real quick. Go right back to the thing they're working at. I think that's what it was trying to tell us. It was trying to teach us early on in the 80s that we need to watch out, and nobody listened. Nobody listened to Charles Bronson's message here and said.
No, nobody did. Nobody did. I mean, slightly listened because I have to imagine that they have better border defenses than that first fence they cut.
Yeah, they just go there, chop, 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 chop. Okay, let's go in through, guys.
Right.
Yeah,
But I mean, you're probably right. That probably is the entire message is hey, rest of America, this is happening.
Yeah, because you could just see if you're in Minnesota or something like that, you'd be like, what the fuck? This is what happens down south? You know what I mean?
Right. What do you mean? What do you mean Mexicans are being sold on the black or on the stock market?
Yeah, they're checking that they go I need to go check my stockbroker, see if this is legitimate or not. Should I be investing?
Right. Deborah, how much money do we have in the SAP right now?
Yeah, transfer it over.
Business is booming.
Yeah. So yeah, they had that all kind of going on there, but yeah, it's an interesting movie. It's definitely an alternative Charles Bronson movie to watch. It's one of those ones. Definitely don't make this your first Charles Bronson movie. You'll be kind of confused.
Oh God, no.
And yeah, you might not be as excited to watch others, But
No, start with if you're gonna get into Bronson for the first time ever, Mr. Majestic,
The Mechanic.
the Mechanic is so good. But
That's a good.
Okay, do I want to say this? I'm gonna say it. I almost think the Mechanic remake with Jason Statham and damn, what's that dude's name? This is gonna piss me off.
The what?
You've seen the remake with of the Mechanic, right?
Yeah, I got that one.
Ben Foster.
Oh,
Jason Statham and Ben Foster. That movie is amazing. Ben Foster's just phenomenal.
Well, Ben Foster is one of those like super actors who sadly he's always kind of like on back burner, you don't get to see him like in the mainstream, but like whenever he's in something,
yeah,
steals the show.
Dude, he nails it every time. The movie that he did with Chris Pine, that wasn't even like that great of a movie, but he was phenomenal.
Was that the one where it's the Hell or
High Water, I think?
I liked that one actually quite. That was one of those movies that I caught kind of late. I remember like both me and Dunnigan said when we saw that, we're like, shit, I wish we would have saw that in theaters. Something like I remember it was like in and out so fast, and I totally spaced out on it. But I thought it was actually really good.
I thought it wasn't bad. I just don't like Chris Pine. I'm going to throw it out there.
Okay,
I think he looks weird. He looks like a puppet from Team America World Police, and I don't like it.
Chris Pine.
Chris Pine. But no, that version of the Mechanic is probably my favorite. I hate saying it.
It seems like blasphemy, but that remake Mechanic is really fucking dialed in.
It's so good. But the Mechanic, Mr. Majestic, Hard Times.
I mean, you can always go Magnificent Seven if you want like an ensemble piece that has Charlie. He's not the one of the main guys. Well, I mean, he's one of the seven, but
Yeah. The Great Escape.
Yeah.
All the Lethal Weapon films, they're all fantastic. If you want to do a podcast series just on Lethal Weapon and, be like, hey, we watch all the ones that are on Prime Video, because I don't think Lethal Weapon 4 is on Prime.
Well,
I think it's 1 through 3.
I mean, I literally own all the Lethal Weapon movies on VHS, DVD, and Blu-ray. So.
Do you? Oh my gosh. The higher the number, the better the film is my opinion.
For Lethal Weapon?
Oh hell yeah, dude! They get so fun. He just starts killing people. It's great.
Well, that's the thing. All 4 Lethal Weapons are amazing, and I'd be 100%. I keep wanting to, because I bought them on Blu-ray not too long ago. I was like, I want some good copies of these. I want to go back and watch them, and I haven't sat down and watched through some Lethal Weapon again. But I'll be 100% down for that.
Dude, I love those. Are like some of my favorite films. Like I think Lethal Weapon 3 is probably my favorite. I think. Or it's 4. Is 4 the one where he's running around the streets with a literal belt-fed machine gun with a 240 Bravo?
No, I want to say that's the first one.
No. Where Bronson's running around the streets with the machine gun.
Oh,
I think it's either 4 or 3.
Might be 3 then. No, because
where he's like.
3's the one with all the gang violence, because that's like the whole thing. That's like the.
It might be that one then. I don't remember. See, now I gotta watch them. I have to watch them all now.
What are you talking about?
I just watched 1 and 2.
Are you talking about Are you talking about Lethal Weapon or are you talking about Death Wish?
Oh, Death Wish. Oh, my bad. Oh, my goodness.
I was getting so confused. I was like, wait a second. Like, Charles Bronson's not in Lethal Weapon. Like, wait, I was getting so lost, but I was trying to figure out.
My bad.
It's like I figured out where this is all going, so I'm like, you know what? Let's see where this goes. I'm gonna try to figure out this.
No, it's late here. You're totally right. Death Wish.
Well, I do have those all on DVD too. So
Bronson's in Lethal Weapon, just in spirit.
yeah, we're running around. I was like, wait a second. Yeah, because it just took a hard turn for a second from like Bronson movies to Lethal Weapon. I was like, I'm gonna see where this goes.
Oh yes, no,
Yeah, no. Those ones do get better the farther up they go, for sure.
Yes, that was a absolutely horrendous mistake.
Because I was like, Lethal Weapon 3 is your favorite one of all of them? That was like a weird. I mean, I like it, but I don't know about compared to all of them.
It makes sense, all your confusion too. And I'm like, yeah, when he's running around with the belt-fed machine gun, you're like, the first one? I'm like, no, he doesn't do that.
What? I was like,
he hits a dude with socks and a quarters in that one.
Yeah.
Get out of here. What are you talking about? But no, those ones, like, the higher the number is, the better they get. And like just all the little lines in there, like the dude who's like meets him in the street and he's like got a little zip gun. He has a little pipe gun where he has to slam it home to fire like one shot.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And Bronson's there with like a machine gun or whatever he has. He's like, just stick with me. What is that guy gonna do?
Is those ones like they just turned the carnage up? It's like the first one's pretty much kind of like just a straight up revenge kind of like thriller movie, but then the rest of them become like
the second one too. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the second one is too. Yeah, and then like the 3, 4, and 5 just start getting more intense. Kind of like almost like Dirty Harry with like Magnum Force.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I think to like a higher degree though.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Dude, I love the part, and I remember it was like, as a kid with Death Wish, having to stop myself from like making his traps and like all the tools he would use. Like it's either Death Wish 3 or 4 where he puts the nails in the board and it's attached to like a spring trap. So if somebody opens up the window and climbs through, the board with the nails would slam into the person.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, you know, whatever Bronson's doing, and he gets called by the old couple that he just put this lethal trap in their house. And he comes and there's blood fucking everywhere. And they're like, oh, is he going to die? And he's like, no, but he's going to run off real slow. And I'm sitting there like putting nails through a board. And I'm like putting it in my room. And my dad walks in. He's just like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, too much Death Wish.
Yeah, dude.
Don't worry about breaking the house.
Oh, you know, I got to take care of business. You know what I'm saying?
You know, I'm just taking it to the next level from Home Alone.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's like the ultimate version of Home Alone, even though he would kill everybody. Like, let's be honest. He's a murderer in Home Alone.
No, yeah, Home Alone, all those traps are all extremely brutal.
Yeah, those are all highly lethal. Like hits people with bowling balls and paint cans and shit.
Yeah, no. It'd be funny if like the parents come back and like the whole family is just like there's just all these. Let's just say there's like way more wet bandits than just 2. There's just all these dead bodies just, like stuck in traps pretty much throughout the house.
He's a fucking serial killer.
Yeah, and he's just sitting there like with his fucking Michael Jordan stand up and just like eating fucking Domino's or Pizza Hut and whatnot.
Dude, I love also how Joe Pesci goes into Home Alone basically like right after Goodfellas, I think.
Yeah, it's
I'm pretty sure.
It's literally a weird transition when you kind of think, and you know, and after Lethal Weapon 2 and 3, just to bring it back to.
Dude, he's one of the best characters in Lethal Weapon.
Yeah,
he's amazing.
Yeah. Just like the classic scene where like they fuck you at the drive-thru, and I want to say it was like a Subway. And I remember for the longest time I tried looking for a drive-thru Subway. I'm like, where the fuck is a drive-thru Subway? And I didn't see one until just like somewhat recently in the last couple of years. I'm like, been looking my whole life because of that movie for a drive-thru Subway.
I don't know how you would be able to like order your food since you have to like literally be like, I want
you drive the line.
Oh, yeah, right.
You just drive the line. You like, there's like a glass window. You point like an animal. Oh
God, yeah, right.
Give me more tomatoes.
want double meat.
Yeah.
Toasted.
Yeah. More. Yeah, one of those things. Yeah, it's just weird. Just it's when they have that. Even like Panda Express has like the drive-through.
I'm surprised.
You drive the.
I'm surprised they don't have Max working at Subway.
No, well, I think
that's like the one place he hasn't worked at yet.
No, that's true. We never had Max on the podcast, so nobody has any idea who you're talking about. But it'd be fun.
Dude, you should make that happen.
It would be fun.
Let's just ask them all the fun stories. Like, hey, tell us about when you ate that frog.
It's probably illegal nowadays in some states. Get PETA.
I know. What's the statute of limitations on frog murder?
Yeah, it's a deadly one. At least it wasn't a poisonous frog, I guess. See, yeah, be careful where you just eat these frogs at.
He can't die. He's Russian.
Oh, that's true.
He's indestructible.
He's a super soldier. You know,
he is.
If it was an Avengers movie, he'd be fighting Captain America.
Yeah, I'll stop before I say something bad. I don't want to beat up on Max.
No, but no, because he's always a fun guy. But
no, he is.
But yeah, no, he would be a hoot and a holler though on Mike. I bet you, because he was always classic at saying some goofy jokes and all kinds of stuff. But
well, no, he was one of those people that like he was always funny without meaning to be funny.
Yeah, like he had some of the best lines like I ever heard in my entire life.
Yeah,
but
he also made
unintentional.
Like the best awkward social situations. Like you see Max in a store and he's working at the store, but he's yelling across the store saying hi to you.
Yeah, exactly.
And all the other workers are looking at him like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, what's going on here? But yeah. Yeah, well, I think we do need to return with some more podcasts, some more Charles Bronson, some more, just action movies in general. Hell, we should even do that Lethal Weapon one. We already spiked that up. I got all excited there. I'm like, yeah, let's do some fucking Lethal Weapon.
I'm always down for Lethal Weapon.
Especially when
unfortunately, I get him confused with Death Wish. It's the brain injury. It don't work well. All I know is people die, and I like it.
Well, that's what Charles Bronson always provides, no matter what. He always gives the good action,
Except for in Borderline.
No, in Borderline, yeah, he shoots one person. It's he roughs a guy up in the bathroom. That's about the only other thing you kind of get. Sounds weird when you
Borderline. He doesn't even have any really awesome lines either. I don't know.
Really. No, everybody else has. There's other people got some lines, but not Charles Bronson. I don't know. Yeah, it's worth watching. But yeah, what were you gonna say? Rate it?
Yeah, what would you rate that?
I would still say it's like a 3 out of 5. Still interesting enough.
Yeah, I'd say the same. It had some good material in it. It was interesting seeing the border during view of that time period.
Yeah, it's historical.
As far as story goes, I'm like, it doesn't really have much of a story other than taxpayer dollars at work.
Yeah, it's just missing a little bit of action. I think that's the thing. I was kind of hoping for a little bit more because it seemed like at the end it was like they were building up. It was like that last 20 minutes. I was like, it's gonna go down here. They have all those cops showing up, all the border patrol guys and whatnot. They're going to the plantation and whatnot. There's gonna be this giant shootout and. No, not really. They pull one guy out of the car. I'm like, hey, you stop driving there. They're like, put some cuffs on that boy. And that's it. He's locked down. And then it's you see Ed Harris. He gets in a truck and drives off. And then Charles Bronson chases him. It's like, well, there goes all our shootout we're going to have. Now it's just 2 guys.
Dude, we left that part out, too. I can't believe we did that. The whole reason why they were able to set up that raid was Charles Bronson cornered a dude in a public bathroom and beat the ever-living shit out of him
and then gave him swirlies. Nastiest, fucking toilet that no one flushed in weeks.
Yeah, he's like, there is no lie here. Tell me everything.
Yeah, that's the only other real action part we have is where Charles Bronson roughs that guy up in the bathroom.
While he's off duty. He's not even at work.
No.
He just follows some random guy.
Yeah, he's gonna solve this no matter what. He doesn't care. He doesn't have to be on duty for anything.
Yeah,
but
I mean that's a perfect example of the plot holes in that film.
Yeah, no, it's one of those ones. It's definitely not the perfect Bronson one, but still interesting. I think that's the thing. I'm going to leave it at that. It's an interesting 3 out of 5 movie, but yeah, check it out. It's on Prime if you want to watch it. You can check it out in its glorious 4:3 that makes it feel like it's made for TV. Like I literally had to look that up. I'm like, was this movie made for TV? Because I'm not too sure. It's one of those ones, but yeah, it's for fun, whatever, it's what it is. But we'll come back again with another Charles Bronson one, and we'll get into some more heavy, deep cuts and more action-packed thrills. But till then, you can always go to oldmanorange.com. We find more podcasts, movies, comic books, and all that fun stuff like that. And I'm Spencer Scott Holmes with super special guest
Josh.
And we'll see you some other time.